So you identify a desire, and as soon as you identify a desire, you will feel an emotional relationship to that. In other words, you'll know.
There's no connection. There's no emotional connection. It's just a thought. It's not a feeling.
But if you can tell us that you don't believe something, well,
I'm trying to understand belief.
Emotions are feelings.
Yeah, but
so maybe that's part of your confusion. What you feel, feeling is a belief. Feeling is a belief. You feel happy, you feel sad, you feel confused, you feel clarity.
Exactly what I'm trying to say. When I'm feeling it emotionally with my body, it shows up. But when I want something like a pencil, I can't feel that pencil, and it doesn't show up. So I've identified that I have this issue.
The reason for that is because you're testing it from a premise of non-belief.
So how would I bridge that then?
You're going to like this story because it's the answer to your question. Several years ago, someone handed Jerry a book. The preface to the book was written by Og Mandino, and he was talking about prosperity and how when you let yourself notice prosperity, no matter how small it is, even in a penny, that it will show you more and more and more and more and more. It was extremely well written, and Jerry and Esther talked about it while they drove. And then from just the few minutes that they spent reading this book, as they took their first steps somewhere, there was a penny. And Jerry said, well, look at that. Esther gobbled it up and put it in her pocket. And then there was another penny, and then another penny. And so pennies became so prevalent that it really slowed them down in all other aspects of their life, because there were pennies, 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 like nothing that they had ever seen before. All bright and shiny pennies. And they knew that there was a direct correlation between this simple idea that they'd read that they didn't feel any resistance about, and the way the universe then gave them evidence of what they'd been reading. In other words, the evidence backed up the belief that they'd held for a long time that was enhanced by them reading this book by this person that they revered. So then pennies, pennies, pennies. There would be pennies on the nightstand that Jerry swore he didn't put there, and Esther knew she hadn't put there, and yet there they were. The only two people that had been in the house. Who's putting the pennies there? Am I now just seeing things that I wasn't allowing myself to see before? What's going on? Well, the universe is yielding to you what's active in your vibration. That's the way it works, what's active in your vibration. And they were sincere enough about their pleasure in this that pennies, pennies, pennies. So now this went on for a week or two, and it was getting to be really fun and really humorous. And then they got on an airplane, and they were sitting at the bulkhead, which means there was a wall in front of them, not another seat. And Jerry's on the aisle, and Esther's sitting next to him, and they're talking to each other. And as the plane began to lift off, Esther and Jerry simultaneously looked down, and there were two pennies on the floor that stood up on their ends as they took off. Well, now, someone who understands physics and someone who understands aerodynamics could explain that it was just the perfect vibration of the plane and the perfect thrust of the plane. In other words, this wasn't something that defied physics. Nothing ever defies physics. It's that your perception allows you to see things within the physics that sometimes your perception doesn't allow you to see within the physics, because you've got your rendezvous with it blocked off by a belief that doesn't match your desire. And so nothing like that ever happened again. Esther said to Jerry, I'm glad you saw it because no one would ever believe it. Jerry said, I'm glad you saw it because no one would ever believe it. But it confirmed to them that an active attention upon a subject will yield to you more and 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 more about that. There's not a shred of evidence to the contrary of any of this. And so we really mean it when we say, if there's something that you want that you're not seeing, then start noticing the things that you want that you are seeing, and more of the things that you want that you aren't seeing will start showing up. But when you stand in this stance that I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't understand it, I don't understand it, you're not ever going to get it.
Well, that's what I'm understanding. I'm understanding more and more. So that's a good tool to give me, because I've been practicing that, and now I just have to I guess,
Well, this falls into the
continue-
category of trying way too hard. Here's something else that we really want you to hear. Step 1 is asking, and step 3 is letting in, and step 2 is the universe arranging the details. So you've already asked and asked and asked and asked and asked and asked and asked. The vibrational question of an ask is different than the vibration of an answer. So you've got to stop doing the asking part in order to let yourself do the receiving of the answering part. And so
looking for it is the receiving.
looking for something that isn't there puts you in a place of not letting it show up to you. It actually blocks your ability to see it even if it is there. That's why we say step 1 is ask. Life helps you to do that. Step 2 is source answers. Source will give you the pennies. Step 3 is you got to let it in. You got to be in a position where you let it in. So if you're asking and asking and asking from the vibration of not finding, not finding, not finding, even though the universe can yield it to you, you can't see it because you're in the vibration of the ask or the question rather than in the vibration of the answer or the solution. Is that logical to you?
It's logical, but I'm not looking to not find. I'm actually in the mindset of saying, okay, it's there. Maybe
Untrue.
it's just not looking
Untrue.
the right way.
Nothing that you said was that today. You just kept saying, I can't find it. I don't believe it. I can't find it. I don't believe it. We say, you can have it. You say, I can't have it. We say, you can find it. You say, I can't find it. We say, you can understand this. You say, I can't understand
How am I
this.
saying all that? I mean, to me, it sounds like I'm saying,
Well,
trying to
we may be
understand.
extrapolating what it sounds to us like you're saying because the results that you're getting are the proof in the pudding.